a freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Hey folks, Dude here, coming out again, another iteration of Dude After Dark, and I did actually mess up on my tertiary, let's see, primary, secondary, tertiary, tertiary, so my form of video, well, let's just say video, savings, no, it'll be fine, okay, it'll be cool, it'll work. We're not going to have any issues whatsoever. And I did have some fun with Sound Guy. We were doing a little bit of audio engineering expertise, shall we say. And we came up with something that still should fit under copyright premise, but definitely, absolutely gets the point across. So literally, we could be saying something along the lines of, I don't know, like James Bond type stuff. And well, all that stuff is copyrighted, so you got to be really, really careful about it. But I think this might fly when talking about President Caca.
The name is...
Yeah. Yeah. The name is Caca. Joe Caca. Actually, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to go back in there and do it. The name is Caca. Joe Caca. Yeah, we're gonna have to do that one because it's really, I know his name is. Okay, so we're gonna have to go through there and rework the, the 007 or 00 Caca, 00 Caca. Yeah, the name is 00 Caca. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So anyway, let's jump right into the news. Hopefully some people are hanging out. And let's see what we got going on in the room. Oh, wow. Donnie C's here. Martina Sasquatch. Yes. And yes, Martina Sasquatch. Silent greatest people. Yeah. Okay. It's one of these, how should I put this? It's one of these, unbridled joys that I take upon things is you look at these early 70s world is coming to an end. On one side, the world is cooking up. On the other side, the world is freezing. On the other side, we're going to get nuked. On the other side, it's a post-apocalyptic thing where dude is walking around with a telepathic dog trying to zap everything female. Oh, yeah, right. Exactly. Martina Sasquatch is saying, yes, Soylent Green was actually set in the year 2022. We're going to bring in the scoops, man. If you don't depart and, disperse, we're going to bring in the scoops. That movie's really kind of crazy to think. None of that stuff is really noteworthy to say it's correct in the scheme of things. And potentially you could definitely say that, well, it's really not correct in the reality of stuff. But anyway, first time out playing with some new technology. I am rocking the 1T Doppelganger for my Note 9 as the video recording device for this podcast. So we'll move on with that one and see how that works. If anything glitches up on, like I usually say, I'm running 2 units side by side. I'm running power for YouTube. Finger pointing on that camera. Then I'm running the other my laptop running on this camera. So there's 2 cameras side by side in binocular vision, 3 microphone devices now because I'm rocking the smartphone as a third recording video enterprise. So, I'm now kind of like, doing like my desk is damn busy, okay? Because I have literally my computer monitor, my tablet, a smartphone, and a laptop. So all these displays are now like, doing like the whole NASA thing here. And it's looking a little busy, okay? So, there is some stuff going on here. So hopefully everything works out fine, okay? I don't want to have anything jack up because, well...
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Okay, I hope it's not game over, okay?
Automatic defense procedures initiated.
Uh-oh. No. Turn Turn it off, sound guy. We don't need that right now, okay?
No zone. No zone.
Dang, we went straight into the no zone. Yeah. Stop with the aliens, okay? Okay, you didn't have to shoot them. All right. Okay. So speaking of firearms related stuff, we are now looking at ammoland.com, and this story is bad ass. West Virginia, my fine neighbor to the west of me, because I'm pretty much looking at the Atlantic here. But my fine neighbor to the west of me, West Virginia, their house passes Keep, Bear, and Drive with Arms Act, as if it wasn't blatantly obvious. Mostly because West Virginia does have constitutional carry. They're not putting the period on the end of that sentence, and they're saying, nah, that's not enough. We'll put a couple apostrophes here, just so they know on no uncertain terms. You are allowed to have Keep, Bear, and I really can't show the camera, but you're allowed to have the bangers with you at all times, because you never know when you might need something to something to just okay. So make sure you got that handy there and all the good stuff like that there. Patriot Fever reporting in with Little Patriots 1 and 2. So Patriot Fever, sir, appreciate you coming by. I salute you. So anyway, this West Virginia House thing. Let me scroll on down here. Yesterday, House of Delegates passed House Bill 4048, the West Virginia Keep, Bear, and Drive Arms Act. It now goes to the Senate for further consideration. So House Bill 2048 affirms that it is unlawful to possess loaded or uncased rifles and shotguns in vehicles, quote, unless rebutted by the totality of circumstances, end quote, that unlawful hunting is occurring. Translation: if somebody is, let's just say zapping deer from the roadways, roadway hunting, which is really not cool, okay? If you're driving along and you're running a spotlight, you see a deer, you stop and you zap the deer, that is illegal hunting, okay? You are not allowed to hunt like that. It's not even like a subsistence thing. You're just not allowed to do that, okay? Don't do that. Ensures law-abiding citizens may carry the firearms of their choice in the manner of their choice with them in the vehicles. Basically saying those jerks, how can I say this without saying this? How can I say this without saying this? Those guys,
You dick!
yeah, those guys, okay? Those guys who are basically zapping the deer from the roadways are going to be held up for what they're doing. The other guys who are basically just Joe Blow, Joe Average, driving along, doing their very completely legal thing, who are not in the members of the
Retard alert! Retard alert, class!
who are not in that group, could basically then carry around and have all their good stuff and able to protect themselves and their families and property in the vehicle at all times. So basically what it is, it's the period on the end of the sentence saying, you shall not take away these people's rights from defending themselves while in operation of their vehicles. So scrolly. I don't know if you caught this one up or not, but oh, my stars and garters, CNN. Oh, CNN. If you want to say that anybody is just,
Retard alert! Retard alert, class!
yeah. So there's now Night of the Long Knives is coming out, and that's kind of a historical reference. If you guys look it up, it's basically when the Nazis went out and really, really created some mayhem. Logan Ray, sir, appreciate you coming on by. So this is what's going on. CNN worldwide president Jeff Zucker has resigned on Wednesday. A quick recap of what the newsroom and CNN has looked like in the past year. CNN fired Chris Cuomo for sexual misconduct. Anchor Don Lemon has been accused of sexual assault. Producer Rick Saliby forced out for soliciting underage photos and is under criminal investigation. Producer John Griffin is now facing federal sex crime charges involving children. And Jeffrey Toobin exposed himself during a virtual meeting with colleagues. So from the top on down, this guy was just like, what? Yeah, he's not good, okay? And that's putting it, well, nicely, okay? There's just no way to say that he needed to stay at CNN. And truthfully, his name should have been Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor?
Yes.
Jeez!
You
Tactical reload. Sorry. Oh man. Looking at MHF by RTF SEYT. I don't know what that means, dude. I don't speak Russian or whatever that is, but appreciate you coming on by, hanging out with us in the room. Good stuff like that there. First and foremost, let me congratulate Mr. Logan Ray here in the room and his compatriots in the Great White North. The local and the, I guess it would be the federal Canadian guys, are losing their collective stuff. They are so put out now that they really, truly don't know how to deal with it. And it's become a situation where they've had, okay, well, we'll just take all their gas. We'll take all their propane. We'll freeze them out. We'll give them tickets. Okay, Canadian Premier type guys, remember this. If the truckers stop doing what they're doing, this whole thing that you're going on about, oh, we have to do economic studies to see what the impact is. The impact is that they're not working. If they're not working and they're basically telling you to stop making them do all this mandate crap, and you still insist on doing the mandate crap, and they're not working, guess what's going to happen to your economy? It pretty much is just going to go not so good, okay? It can be said that, well, how do I say this without saying this? It's just, goes the Canadian economy, because there's not going to be much going on. So this whole thing about putting, barriers into the operation of truckers just doing their daily thing, when most time truckers, 95% of the time, have no direct interaction with the public whatsoever. They're in a box. They're going from this point to this point, dragging along the stuff, dropping off the stuff, dropping that load, picking up another load, going to another area. Once in a while, they're getting out, they're fueling up their truck, they're getting food, they're getting back in. Maybe once in a while, they're hitting a truck stop with a bunch of other truckers, grabbing a shower and, maybe hitting the can, grabbing some food. And that's their interaction with the public, is at a bare damn minimum. Now, it's already been this whole predisposed thing about, the interaction of truckers and the Chinese communist covert viral infection. And it could be said that basically these guys really, truly don't have a whole heck of a lot of interference or interaction therein with the public, creating any kind of situation where they would endanger anybody with anything other than maybe just bad language. So it can be said that Canada right now, in a major, complete, and total overreach, you're not going to win this one. Because when it comes right down to it, and these guys decide they're going to take a week or two off, your economy literally stops. There's no other way to say it. Yeah, it's just going down, okay? There's no other way around it. You guys are, it's dead duck, okay? So those guys running things in the provincial government, I think it is, or whatever you guys call it over there, you might want to stop doing that stuff, because it's not going to work out for you. And in the long run, the truckers are still going to make money if they drive south of the border and they operate in the United States. No problem at all, because we have a good interaction therein between us and the United States and Canada. It's not going to be an issue for these guys to make money, okay? If they want to come down south and operate south of the border, I think that there's a handshake where they can do that. And that's not like they're going to grab a load and they're going to go right back north immediately. I think they can operate in the United States for a while. And if they do that and make us, S ton of money, S hit ton, and they're operating not in Canada, you guys aren't stopping them. And they might actually have to do a little math looking at their dashboard going, okay, I got to figure this from kilometer into miles and miles into kilometers. And I think that's about the worst they got to do, because, it's really easy math. I think most times on the trucks nowadays with the digital dashboards, you just push a button and the speedometer goes, okay, I'm reading now in this. Okay, I'm reading now in that. It's easy stuff. 100 kilometers an hour is 100 kilometers per hour is it's 62 miles per hour. It's not hard math, okay? It's very, very simple. If you're going a little faster or a little slower, right around, speed limits and whatnot, hang with the other truckers. Nobody's doing 140 in a truck, okay? We're fine. And I'm talking miles per hour, not kilometers. 140 kilometers per hour is like what, 80 miles an hour? 85 miles an hour, something like that. I forget what the exact math is, but it's not that much. Anyway, so looking at stuff as it is, it's getting very interesting. In CNN, you mother sucker, you're out of here. What a piece of crap he is. And there's other stuff about him too, like he actually had an affair with somebody else. And there's all kinds of little political things going on between him and Cuomo, basically trying to prop up Cuomo. But unfortunately, Cuomo could never, ever be more than the governor of New York. He could never, ever run as president because he's got some dirty laundry. And let's just say it sounds a little bit like, yeah, like, the Godfather type of stuff. Yeah, he's got a history with those guys. Vinny the Nose and Bobby the Ear and, that type of stuff. He's got a history, okay? Logan in the room says, trying to provoke the people and we're not taking the bait. Oh, dude, absolutely, Logan. I think one of the coolest things I heard was I was listening to the XM Trucker channel, and they had a bunch of Canadian truckers calling in, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. We're acting like Canadians. And I hate to tell you, Canadian guys, but this is your thing. You're seen as nice. Sorry, you're seen as nice. Canadians are just nice. Sorry, guys. If you're trying to act like, like, hey, you take you outside with your boot, I have to kick you in the face with my boot, it's not gonna fly. It's gonna sound like, oh, he wants to go outside and show me something cool in Canada. It's not gonna fly. I'm sorry, you guys. You just have this stereotypical thing of just being nice guys. And they were saying in this radio show that basically everybody was acting truly Canadian. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious because been there a couple times. I mean, Canadians are cool. We tease them about their money. They tease us about our money. We're the neighbors. The neighbors down south. They're like a little brother. Okay. I heard a comedian going on about that. It's like, okay, we get the call to go to combat. It's like, hey, you got to bring Canada. It's like, oh, we got to bring him. He's like our little brother. It's like, yeah, you got to bring Canada. Oh, come on, Canada. Let's go. That's the way I heard it. It was cracking me up. But anyway, the other one, too, is also that's kind of interesting is supposedly this whole women or men identifying at women in the women's sports. It is not working out very good at all. It could be said that pretty much that, the time that they have for their private interactions is going to be a whole heck of a lot like their interactions because they're ready to get boned as soon as they try to compete, and the competitive guys are like, no, you can't do this. We're not going to allow you to compete with chicks. 1, you're too big. 2, you got the lung capacity. 3, you got gross musculature that's way, way bigger. It's not even a competition. So you, my friend, can just roll out now. You're dragging a rudder instead of a smooth stern. That is not going to help you. You must leave. So anyway, they're saying like one of the people, and I'm going to be very generic here, but one of the people maybe out of the NCAA championships after a new USA swimming rule. I'm not going to name names, but the University of Pennsylvania swimmer, formerly known as a male name, will be banned from competing in the NCAA championships in Atlanta in March after the USA swimming guys said, and they meant with a big All right, so that one is a goner. Hopefully, we see the end of this stupid stuff. It's just not good stuff. How do I say this without saying this? Well, there's only really one way to say this. Jeez, we're talking about possibly one of the worst days on Wall Street ever for an American corporation.
Let's get ready to...
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Facebook. Facebook just got how do I say this without saying this? Well, they got Oh man, did they ever? They just got for $230 as in boy billion dollars, or 26% of its stock value gone. Like gone. Like bye-bye, gone. See ya, man. $230 billion lost by Facebook, or the largest one-day corporate loss ever in the United States and world business. Zuckerberg personally lost $31 billion. Oh, dude, you want to talk about? Oh, dude, yeah. He's definitely.
Come on, squeal.
But I pooped from there.
I hope he got a kiss afterwards, because he got it deep, thorough, and all the way home. Anyway, so yeah, they what it is essentially Facebook overstated their earning potential going into the quarter which they're now arriving. They also have expended like $30 billion setting up the virtual setup to make sure that how do I say this without saying this? Their new little virtual paradise. I'm not going to name the names here, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, the little four letter paradise they're setting that everybody's going to go in here, use an avatar, and interact with each other that way, wearing these Oculus style glasses or VR headsets, versus using a camera type of setup as opposed to what we're currently doing, because the interaction is going to be so much better, be everybody in virtual. Don't see that coming. And I think possibly it would just be
Snoo snoo.
no, it would not be snoo snoo.
Death. By snoo snoo.
It would not be snoo snoo. No snoo snoo. It would not be snoo snoo to be in virtual reality doing the whatever Facebook equivalent of, you know, avatars walking around a virtual office, interacting with your whatever avatar that you've generated to say, this is me. Hey. No, it's not going to be happening for the long view. And most people really just aren't into it, man. And I start hearing, like, you know, people buying like virtual real estate in these places, and corporations are setting up virtual storefronts in these things. It's really just silly. It really is. See you in a second here. But anyway, the easiest way to say what happened with Facebook is they said, we're going to make X amount of money. They didn't make X amount of money. And they said, well, we're going to be generating X amount of views by the SEOs, of which we're now stating we're going to be raping, pillaging, and burning. And rape might come into play here, but we're going to be raping, pillaging, and burning the internet, and you know, setting the world on fire. And, you know, we're going to just be amazing, and everything's just going to be, wow, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be amazing for us. No, it wasn't. They basically looked at projected earnings and the fact that they lost 1 million people on Facebook. Yeah, most people just looked at him and was like, you know what? You're despicable. And they signed out, and they decided not to come back. So it can be said that, you know, that is just the start of a decline. Facebook's not ever going to go away, but let's just say that this was a good trip and fall. Okay. It was definitely not something that they were looking forward to as the stock market was going on. And wow. Yeah, because it was like Zuckerberg's like, okay, I'm going to generate massive money.
I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that.
Why not, Hal? Come on, we got a lot of money to be making here. And the computer's like, no. Sorry, no, Oh, jeez. I mean, what else could you possibly have happen to him that really expresses the fact that people are pretty much sick of the fake nuances that Facebook then puts upon themselves and everybody else to say, oh no, you must love us because we are the only place in which to go to on the internet and do the things that you do. We'll treat you right. Oh, that was not Careless Whisper at all. Yuck. So anyway, Mr. Zuckerberg.
But I pooped from there.
Yeah, let's just say he got it. Yeah, he got
But I
it.
pooped from there.
Yeah, he got it really bad, really bad. Yeah, he was really swallowing something there. Well, anyway, could be said that they eventually will make more money, but a $320 billion loss on your business, that does not inspire confidence on the long view. It really doesn't. A lot of people are just going to say, you know what, 26% of the stock market are gone. I have no reason whatsoever to invest at this point in time. Bye-bye. Let's see. Scroll. A Democrat lawmaker has been expelled from the Senate after being found guilty of fraud. Such a huge stretch. Remy, what are you doing? Mr. Remington. What? Mr. Remington. No? Okay. Well, Remy's nosing around. Anyway, she basically is coming from truthpress.news. And she's a state senate, not federal senate, but a state senator. Democrat Katrina Robinson was expelled from the Tennessee State Senate on Wednesday. Why? 4 counts of federal wire fraud last fall. She's accused of misusing federal money to pay for her wedding and other personal expenses. Although 2 of those charges were later dropped, a judge refused to drop the other 2. She'll be sentenced in March. Her supporters called for delaying the expulsion, claiming she would resign after sentencing. Translation: she didn't want to get just, given the roughshod treatment of just, how do you say this without saying this gently? She didn't want to get crap canned, but it was going to happen because they are just not feeling it. They're tired of her. And, another Democrat turd goes down the pooper. Anyway, so yeah, they basically they decided to bail her, boot her, and bye-bye. Hang on a second. Who's texting me now? What's this? Watch this. Okay, I don't know what this says, but it was doing something. Anyway, let's see. Scrolly. She's out. Now, here's the thing. This ISIS leader, and I'm going to try to pronounce his name, is something blah 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 blah. Ali or something or other. And I'm not even going to try to say that. What I will say about the fact that they went out and actually zapped the guy is it was unfortunate for him, but precursor to Joe Kaka even getting in office, there is always a bunch of guys who are doing their investigations, bunch of special ops guys going, we might have the opportunity. And if we do find an opportunity to whack the guy, we will whack the guy. And they said, hey, we have an opportunity to zap something or other, Ali, blah, blah, blah. And he said, And they're like, no, we have the opportunity. We can basically take him down.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Mr. Kaka, President Kaka, do you think we should take this guy down?
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
And at that point, they're like, you know what? Take him out. And then, of course, the Special Forces guys, ran up on him and all the good stuff like that there. And they were like, hey, man, how you doing? We're the Special Forces guys, and we'd like to take you for a little ride. And he said, you know what? I'm kind of not feeling it right now. You know, me being the primary bad guy. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to just say bye-bye. And that's exactly what he did. He basically said bye-bye. So, of course, dude's now splatterated. He wiped out his family in the process. Bits and pieces are, probably, plopping down all around these guys. And, yeah, I just. Hey, look out, man. Here comes some entrails. Oh, no. Here comes a lady's. Yeah, don't step on that, okay? Yeah, that's even worse on the outside than on the inside. Ugh. Anyway, so they zapped this guy, and they took him down, and he assisted by setting off his bomb vest. Wipe him out, part of his family, if not all of his family, and a good chunk of the property, from what I understand. It was a heck of a kablooey. So, dude went... No, he was bigger than that, man. I think that one's right, okay? The big fucking bluey. Whoops. The big fucking bluey. Anyway, so let's see. Zuckerberg earned his drain on. Oh, jeez. I think Zuckerberg is not going to go anywhere anytime soon because he is a CEO. I do think that more than likely he is probably he's going to get knocked down some serious points. The stock guys, any of the stockholders are pissed because they're like, "Oh, how can this possibly be? You're this great big enterprise. You make us all this money, blah 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 blah." And it's kind of like that whole thing about like, what have you done for me lately? So I tend to think right now, Mr. Zuckerberg he's not going anywhere. He's still going to be the CEO. Potentially, if he creates so much of a loss, they'll knock him off the CEO post. Somebody else will be, the token leader of, Facebook. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. He's going to be leaving. And I was reading this one article. They're like, oh, yeah, he's so smart. He's like a 150 IQ. It's like, okay, if he's a 150 IQ, he's really not that smart. Just give me 1 second here. I tend to think he's like in the same realm of things as like Bill Gates. Somebody who's so set on just their way of doing things that they've kind of figured out some way to make it work for them. And they will never budge. They will never, ever bend to the realm of things outside of their own way of thinking. And in the process of all things, they think their way is the best. I really, truly am not even impressed with this whole thing about, Gates' divorce and whatnot. It was actually probably a situation where the marriage was not even a marriage at this point. It's more just kind of like a legal partnership. And they're like, you know what? If we split now, our tax load is going to be a lot less. And that's exactly why they did it. So for legal reasons, they split their personal relationship, quote unquote, created a divorce, basically broke things up, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at the way they do the tax filings, they have really taken a huge cut on their taxes. That's why they got divorced, okay? Not because it was like, oh, we've been together so long and we've drifted apart and all the rest is happy horse. Because if you get right down to it, when you're that rich, there's no amount of tail that you can't get, okay? Let's just be perfectly honest here. Even somebody as turtle looking as Bill Gates, dude can score, okay? Let's just be completely honest here. But when you have that level of rich, that level of ability to get stuff, that level of blah, 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 do you really ever even really have the thought of, oh, this is unreachable. I'd really like to have the blah, blah, blah. Because you can get that, okay? It's not like there's anything that's outside your grasp or your realm of influence or anything along those lines. Because if you want it, you can get it. It's just a matter of how much is it going to cost. All right, so that's how that one works. So in terms of Mr. ISIS guy, I'm going to say simply this. When liberals are in trouble and need a distraction, they kill an asshole that nobody likes. That's what happened with that one. I don't even, I can't really like read what I said in the comments here on Facebook, but there was a gathering where Joe Kaka was speechifying, and at the end of the speech, he walks to the wrong side of the stage, walked to the middle of the stage again, walked to the other side of the stage, walked back to the wrong side of the stage, and was kind of like considering on where to go to and what to do until finally somebody leaned in and was like, Mr. President, you're not wearing your mask. And he was like, oh, right. Yeah, right. Okay. So he puts the mask on and he's walking around. 5 steps later, he pulls the mask back down, says something to somebody, lets it snap back up again. The guy is, and it's, I cannot begin to do this justice, but holy crap. Holy crap. He's being helped off stage because he gets so turned around on what was going on. Holy crap. I don't know if you heard about this one or not. This one's coming from analyzingamerica.org. But, of course, they kept going on and on for just endlessly with how racist Donald Trump was. You know, how this, that, and the other thing. How much he was beholden to these guys. How this, that, and the other thing. Well, there's now stories coming out, but the ambassador to Israel was a gentleman by the name of David Friedman, and a senior State Department staffer told him, and I cannot begin to, just do this one justice, but U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, made a bombshell allegation against a senior staffer to the State Department who made an anti-Semitic remark. Revealed in an explosive new memoir, Friedman said he was told, quote, don't be so Jewish, end quote, by a staffer while he was pushing the State Department legal advisors to accept the recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital. In 2017, Friedman was working on behalf of President Donald Trump, who made a critical promise to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Friedman was facing strong pushback, he says. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson wouldn't even take his phone call. Arriving in Israel, Friedman insisted he and his wife be taken directly to the Western Wall, the holiest site in Judaism, also known as the Wailing Wall. Friedman worked to arrange Trump's visit to the site, which made him the first U.S. president to do so. He's done a lot of things like that, going across, shaking, Kim's hand, walking across the border. No president ever did that. Let me crank my camera over here a little bit. No president ever gave the recognition to Kim Il-jung or, little Kim, whatever his name is, but it gave the recognition to Kim by walking into his country and saying, I'll take the 5-minute tour here. We can shoot the breeze, blah, 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 blah. Every other time you saw a U.S. president, they were on the other side of the DMZ or the demilitarized zone, looking with a pair of binoculars across the border. Trump's like, you know what? Hell with that. I'm walking across here. And if you don't like it, stay behind me, okay? So it's a critical portion of the memoir. Word of my stubborn insistence on standing by our ally Israel has now circulated widely within the State Department. Another senior staffer decided to call me and offer the following advice. Mr. Ambassador, don't be so Jewish, end quote. What? Don't be so Jewish. You represent the United States of America. Tone down your Judaism in your work. Don't be so Jewish. He says, I was furious. Quote, do you think I'm under any disillusion as to who I represent? Am I not a politically correct person? But I have to ask you, why do the laws of political correctness not apply to Jews? End quote. Just a word of advice worth the price, the other person said. So I would love to know who this person was that told this person that kind of a line, that kind of a thinking. And dude, I got to tell you, political correctness doesn't work. Don't suck up to the guys on the other side of the aisle because they are not ever your friends. Ever. Don't be so Jewish. Yeah. Well, what would happen if they told somebody who was an African American, don't be so black. Don't be so Afro. Don't be so, rural, or don't be so urban. Don't be so, black urban. If you're like that, they're going to assume that you're like that. Yeah. Do you think that really would have flown? But it's okay to say that to a Jew. Yeah. Really good. Really good. I don't know if you guys caught this one or not. This one, I cannot get the translation of it, but it was pretty hilarious. There was a Dutch reporter who was physically removed by the Chinese authorities during a live broadcast. And it's pretty funny because the dude's there, they start blabbering away in Dutch, and all of a sudden this Chinese guy comes up and I couldn't understand a word of Chinese. I couldn't understand a word of Dutch, but it was pretty funny. The guy's like, and then of course the Dutch guy's like, I'm gonna keep talking. Pretty funny because it was almost like a little wrestling match there for a sec. Finally, the Chinese guy basically gets him, shoves him out of the way. The broadcast ends, and the thing that happened was a few hours later, dude was cleared to then make the live transmission. So apparently somebody didn't tell the communist thug that this guy was probably allowed to do that. And oh yeah, it also was probably like a power play to show the Chinese are just ready to pounce on anybody at a moment's notice and let them know they're the ones in charge. I gotta say, I would never, ever send my people to China. Ever. Just ever. Wouldn't do it. I would not do it. And in any way, shape, and form, I just wouldn't do it. It just doesn't come to mind that you send people to a communist country that is that Chinese. that's the only way I could say it, man. That enclosed, that duplicitous, stealing intellectual property. I mean, the whole thing down the, follow the entire travel of what those guys do. The Chinese are just not good guys to deal with. They'll steal your stuff and they'll try to rape, pillage, and burn you for the nearest amount of cash that they can possibly extract from you. That's all they do. Going back to Great White North yet again, this one I think is absolutely illustrative of the depravity, the desperation, and where we are in terms of the Democrats dealing with anybody other than their guys. Wow. Excuse me 1 second here. Need some more apple juice. Actually, rather good stuff. Anyway, so GoFundMe, and this I could not do this one justice, but GoFundMe seized $10 million of the trucker protest fundraising, and they said we're going to give it to charity instead. This is the old story. Read only 3 days ago. The news story is they're like, oh, no. Okay, we changed policy. We're going to give you the money back. Why? Because Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, said, you know what? I got to do it, folks. Thor's hammer. I will start an investigation immediately to find if there is any gross, negligence going on here, any form of chicanery, any way that you guys are dispersing funds in a way that is not legal. If you basically stole this money from other people and did not give it back. Well, the thing about it is the transition was this. GoFundMe said, well, we don't like what you're doing here, so we're going to take your funds and give it to a charity of which we find merits our money. Well, first off, it wasn't your money. It was other people's money you were holding in limbo and then transferring from you to somebody else. So that's gross negligence, and it's basically theft, okay? If you're using the money somewhere else, it's a Ponzi scheme, and it's going to blow up on you hard. So after it started really blowing up in their faces, they're like, well, if you, quote unquote, hang on, if you turn, air quotes, if you turn in this for X amount of timeline, we'll reimburse you your funds, probably short of the fees of associated, blah, 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 blah. So they're going to be snarky about it and say, yeah, well, we'll give you the money back, maybe. But you got to do this other, you got to jump through these hoops first. So then it came out with DeSantis saying, no, this is gross negligence, outright theft. I'm not going to allow it. I'm going to basically sick my AG on them, and it's going to get very interesting very quick. And immediately GoFundMe was like, no, we changed policy. We decided to, give the money back to the truckers or give the money back to the people on their choice, and we're not going to do that. Well, anybody that authorized this in the first place, first and foremost, number one, the people that authorized the removal of funds from these people to stick it onto something that they thought was more worthy, all those people need to be charged with felonies. Number two, it doesn't matter that you're willing to give the money back afterwards after getting caught. You still committed the crime. That's like you going into a bank, stealing the money, and then going down to the end of the street and going, gosh, golly gee, kicking kicking rocks and, kind of toeing the ground, going, yeah, that's really not a naughty of me. I know. I'll give him the money back. So you go skipping up to the bank, Hi, Mr. Bank Guy. I stole this money from you at gunpoint, but I decided to give it back to you because I'm not a bad guy. Bad news. The cop that's standing behind you with the revolver in your head is going to go, don't move a muscle, sucker, because he doesn't care that you gave the money back. All he cares about is the fact that you robbed him in the first place. No matter what your intentions were when you brought the money back, it doesn't blanking matter. You committed a crime. Now, if you want to really, really, truly get down and dirty, it's misallocations of funds. It is theft of high levels. When you start talking $10 million, misappropriation of funds. Could be RICO. Let's see. What else could be? Any of these people could be individually charged all the way down the line from every policy decision that they've ever made. And if I was DeSantis, I would not back down. Just because they're giving the money back does not mean they get a free ride. Everybody associated with GoFundMe needs to go to jail for even thinking something like that. They need to be charged. They need to sit in a courtroom. They need to defend their actions. And they need to go to jail. Even if it's only for 90 days, they need to go to jail. They need to get a felony stuck on them so they know what it's like to be the criminal type of which they just did to somebody else, trying to deny them their constitutional rights in these United States. Because guess what? That kind of stuff don't fly here. Even if it is working overseas from here to Canada, it don't fly here. Let's see. No, I got to tell you, do not ever use GoFundMe. Use Give, Send, Go. Don't use GoFundMe. Give, Send, Go. Give, Send, Go does not play the games like that, and they don't get political. Let's see. Scrolly. Scrolly. Hang on a second here. Basically tapped something I shouldn't have tapped. Hang on, gotta go back down to where I was. Let's see here. Let's see. Like I said, DeSantis is opening an investigation. It's fraud. I would tend to think it's quite a couple more than that one. I don't know if you guys caught up in this one up, but purple-haired, raging, pissy Megan Rapinoe has been left off the U.S. women's team roster. Why? Well, because they got sick of playing with her, sick of all the controversy, and guess what? The team sucked under her leadership. Yeah. Hey March 2, and I know who you are, brother. Said 90 days, send them to jail for 200 days or a year. Well, okay, if you want to be perfectly technical, send them for a few years, make it a felony. That'll stick. But Megan Rapinoe, bye. When you get woke and you run the team horribly and you're just she's just pissy, man. There's no other way around it. She's just pissy. She's one of these people that kind of came in there and said, you listen to me, or we're just not ever going to do this, that, and the other thing, and blah, 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 because she's just, yeah. She's pissy. Yeah, she's just pissy. No other way around it. She's just pissy. Well, anyway, she's out of there, man. I'm not dealing with her crap anymore. I don't know if you guys caught up with this one. This might be only one that the Canadians knew about, but supposedly the critics are now mocking Trudeau for fleeing the capital during the truckers' protest. They've been referring to him as a tyrant on the run. Wow. FoxNews.com. Critics mock puppet Trudeau for fleeing the capital during the truckers' protest. Tyrant on the run. U.S. Representative Chip Roy tweeted, "Is there a more gutless and cowardly display than a tyrant on the run?" Let's see. He reportedly is fleeing his residence in the country's capital of Ottawa as a massive anti-Chinese covert virus. Massive anti-something or other. Hang on. Let's do this right, okay? If I say the wrong thing about stuff, YouTube will burn me. So people who don't want to get the 44 Magnum shot, okay, we're all on board now. So you know what I mean. Massive anti-mandate protest converges on the city. Quote, what a complete coward. He won't even face citizens he has discriminated against, Fox News contributor Lisa Booth tweeted. The Freedom Convoy of truckers left Vancouver for Ottawa on January 23 to protest the federal government's bang mandates on cross-border truckers and calling for an end to the Chinese communist covert viral infection restrictions. The convoy reached Ottawa on Saturday. It was joined by thousands of other Canadians protesting the mandates. The protest has been peaceful. Most disturbances are coming in form of air horns, honking, dancing, and chanting. Trudeau's itinerary for the day usually outlines he's in Ottawa if he's at home, but on Saturday it was said, quote, National Capital Region, end quote. Trudeau and his family were moved to a secret location in the capital over alleged security risks. Yeah, because the truckers are just going to honk their horns at him too much. So critics in Canada and U.S. lambasted and mocked the Prime Minister as gutless and cowardly for fleeing the protesters instead of addressing their concerns over freedom. Wow. I mean, you guys, man, I wonder if there's a recall election that could be had in Canada. Wow, that'd be amazing. J-Dog, appreciate you coming on by, dude. Appreciate you. I cannot begin to tell you how much this really cracks me up, but the leftards, the Democrats, they're really starting to lose bad, and it's mostly because, well, how do I say this without saying this and still maintain myself as being polite? But it seems that when you have President well, when he throws no, I'm saying when he's making his opinions. I'm talking about when the president speaks. The president speaks. Oh, jeez. We're talking about when he talks. When he talks? Okay, it isn't all caca, is it? It might be all caca. Okay, so anyway, California's Holy Grail, this is coming from PatriotJournal.com. Democrats never even got a vote on the state-wrecking universal health care. I know it works for you guys up north, but you got a way of making it happen. And there's too many people in the United States to make this thing work. Joe Biden's socialist spending plan died in the Senate. Failure repercussions across the liberal world. Many states counted on the billions of federal dollars being sent their way, especially blue states whose reckless leadership brought them to the brink of disaster. Despite the major setback, Democrats in California are still hurtling to the edge. They were intending to pass a bill that would have sealed the Golden State for good, but perhaps Biden's failures hurt their plans more than they thought. Perhaps because Newsom's free health care bill without a vote. And California is, well, let's just say California is riding their own whirlwind into just bad times. I mean, the other thing, too, is also they're saying a lot of technology that's not really well proven yet. It's not all recognized, and it's not stuff that we all use. I mean, it's not quite there yet. When you start talking about technology like EVs, oh, you can't have diesel trucks delivering stuff. There's over 40 million people in the state of California, dude. California is like, long. It's not really wide, but it's long. For you to drop off stuff from one end to the other, it's going to take a heck of a lot of power, not including the fact that, well, it's not going to be the easiest thing to run an electric vehicle over that distance, charge, because they just don't have the range yet. Also, the charging stations for tractor trailers simply just don't exist yet. It's not like a tractor trailer is going to come pulling up to a Tesla supercharger and go, oh, this is so convenient. Bloop, plug it in like, the Tesla guys do and go inside, grab something to eat. Number one, a car charges 75% in 45 minutes, I think it is, or something like that. A truck with those deep cycle batteries and the amount of time and the amount of energy that needs to be sucked into that thing, probably you'd have to took like 2 of those superchargers and plug it in. And even then, you're talking such an amount of power that needs to be fed into that thing to recharge the battery banks. It's going to be a long ass time. We're not there yet, okay? So that's only one reason why California is in trouble. Number 2 is also, oh yeah, they don't have enough of this. They don't have enough water. Ever. And when they flood. Anyway, so look at things as it is. There's another thing, too, from President Joe Kaka. Oh, this is a moment of complete and total abject honesty. The average citizen is getting clobbered by the cost of everything. Dude, you were given an economy that was bolstered by a businessman knowing how to make things work. What'd you do? The very first thing you did was you basically just said, you know what? Oh, Trump did that. Yeah, we don't need to do that. Let's get rid of that too. Yeah, it's just too much Trump. We can't, just get that out of here. Yeah, just hack all that stuff out of here. Yeah, but, it's everything that was working, that he had his name on it, they couldn't allow, and they had it too. Yeah, they had to get rid of it because it had his name on it. So self-cited. I don't know if you saw this. I cannot do this one justice. This is basically a video I can't play because obviously YouTube analytics, copyright, and all the rest of that fun stuff. But anyway, Joe Kaka was reminiscing of the days when you could have lunch with a segregationist and still, quote unquote, respect each other. Oh, my stars and garters. I cannot do this justice, folks. That this is the kind of stuff you get when you have somebody that's just conjittered and not all there. Wow. I've heard about this one. The whole Joe Rogan thing and Spotify. You might be a little bit worried here because supposedly Rumble offered Joe Rogan $100 million for a 4-year contract. And it sends him a letter with a, quote, totally legit offer, man. Holy cow. Joe Rogan could pretty much go anywhere he wants right now. And what I said is either Rumble is full of dookie or they're looking to ride the controversy for views. Either way, they need to prove themselves as worthy. But Joe, you need to stop playing games with these leftards, and you need to basically make sure that you're going to be allowed free license for all your stuff. And that's one of the things too, is I heard one of his older videos where he was talking about the N-word or something, or mentioning the N-word, or, something came out and they're like, oh no, we can't allow that. Spotify pulled that video from their archives. Well, that's censorship. And if I was Joe Rogan, I would say, you know what? You got about 2 milliseconds to put that video back up, highlight it, and let everybody know it's back up yet again, or I grab $100 million by walking down the street. And literally for him to say, I'm walking down the street, really is not going to be that much effort. They tell, okay, well, I'm going to take a 2-week timeout. I'm going to set up the studio, and I'll be on Rumble from here on in. Spotify, send over all my property, all my videos, and they better be the complete library, or I'll see you in court. Because if I was him, what I would do is I would have a contract written up as such. Either party can separate any time they wish to, any occasion they wish to, and at a moment's notice, bye. If I was going to have a contract written, that's how I would have it written. Literally like a right to work state where you say, you know what? I'm tired of your crap. There's another job down the street and I'm going there. That's all you got to do. Have the lawyers make it all, completely gibberish like lawyers usually do because that's their job. But I would definitely make sure that they know in no uncertain terms, $100 million is calling. I don't need to stay here. I don't know if you heard about the Schadenfreude, of which I've been having right now with Whoopi Goldberg going, I got a couple weeks to cool my heels. Yeah. So supposedly it's coming from dailywire.com. Whoopi Goldberg is spending her suspension from The View, quote, educating herself about the Holocaust, end quote. No. And I'm saying this very sarcastically. Sure. Sure, she is. However, I bet she's bitching, moping, and being pissy at being caught talking like the standard blanking liberal butthole she's used to talking like in her group of friends, but she effed up and said it in public. She needs to be fired to tell all the other libtards, stop acting like this in public. J-Dog says in the room, he's the top podcaster. You know what, dude? Case in point, if you're the top dog, you can say exactly what you want. And I hope truly Joe Rogan tells Spotify, guess what? I'm not too expensive this year. Next year, I'm going to cost a lot more. And you better start matching numbers with what their offer is, or I'm out the door. I don't care what the contract says, because guess what? I'm writing a new contract right now. And the new contract says I leave and I go down the street and I make $100 million guaranteed. So you might want to take your lawyers right now and look at the number that we had previously. You might want to start tacking on there, because right now I'm giving you guys scads of attention, scads of views. And because of all the controversy involved, you guys are having way more traffic than you ever did previously. So you better start tacking on some zeros. And I'll let you know when to stop, okay? But right now, I'm going to write a number on a piece of paper, and I'm just going to keep adding zeros to it. Every time you piss me off, I add another zero. So this is where we're going right now, and you better fix this like pronto. So anyway, Whoopi's not too terribly happy. And there's other stories like showing like, oh, she's really taking it to heart. She's really trying to learn things, this, that, and the other thing. No, I'm not buying that at all. I think pretty much that she's not a happy camper. She's basically a pissy liberal that got caught, and she doesn't like the fact that they're calling her what she said. Oops. I'm going to have to be very, very careful on how I phrase this one. I'm going to simply say it as anti. Okay. Instead of anti, I'm going to say ant. Okay. So ant, you know what I'm saying here? You know, ant bodies have been detected for up to 21 months for natural acquired ways to fight the Chinese Communist covert viral infection. Ant bodies. And you know what I'm saying here instead of ant bodies. But this is a study coming in from Johns Hopkins, and they found that the natural immunity provides antibodies against the Chinese Communist covert viral infection that are detected in the human body for up to 21 months after testing positive. The Johns Hopkins University has found. So, man makes something, God makes something better. Man makes something, God made something better in the first place, and the stuff that man made is not that great. Let's see. Scrolly. This one, I'm going to have to really, really, really be careful how about I'm talking about it. But supposedly, this one's coming on the other side of the aisle. And I'm not talking about, like, politically. I'm talking, like, on the other side of the aisle, like the guys running the funeral homes. Yes. So, funeral homes, short-term insurers, ex-BlackRock fund manager discovers a disturbing trend in mortality. Yes. 4 weeks ago, one American insurance company CEO, Scott Davison, revealed they'd witnessed the highest death rates in the history of the business. Not just at One America, but with a jump of over 40% of what they were pre-Chinese Communist covert viral infection. Interestingly, Davison noted the majority of the deaths are not classified as Chinese Communist covert viral infection. The implication to the many was clear that the I'm going to go back to that previous sound effect that the hang on a second here, scrolly that the 44 Magnum shot, of which that sound effect, the people that were getting we're all good here, okay, was linked to excess mortality and months of injury reports. We're talking about injury reports are now spilling over to actuarial data. It's beginning to show, among other things, that younger working age people began dying in greater numbers as the mandates hit. For a disease which primarily kills older non-working age individuals, the counter-argument often presented without evidence is that the increase is due to people who postponed elective surgeries and other medical treatments during the Chinese Communist covert viral infection flare-up. J-Dog says he needs a 44. Yeah, you need a 44, man. So ex-BlackRock fund manager Ed Dowd is in the former camp and spent the last months analyzing breadcrumbs associated with the rise in excess mortality versus pre-Chinese Communist covert viral infection levels. Given we're now in the middle of the earnings season, there's some pretty big crumbs rolling out of the insurance and funeral service industries, which are beginning to paint a disturbing picture. A few key observations. Mortality worsened in 2021 versus 2020 despite widespread. Come on, sound guy. That's right. Widespread that. The spike in mortality was among younger working age individuals, coincided with the mandates. The spike in younger deaths peaked at Q3 2021 when Chinese Communist covert viral infection deaths were extremely low, but rising into the end of September. On Tuesday, financial insurance company Unum, so UNUM, reported that their life segment saw an increase of 9% in the ratio of payouts versus premiums, benefit ratio, or a 17.4 increase in 2021 versus 2020, despite widespread and a 13.3 increase over 2019. Wow. So basically they're saying, the guys that actually deal with this stuff day in and day out are noticing some changes. On Wednesday, Dowd noted the funeral home company Carriage Services saw a 28% increase in September 2021 versus 2020 and a 13% increase in August versus the same period. Funerals and cremations are up 12 and 13% respectively on the quarter. In general, funeral homes saw an uptick in business on third quarter, and Dowd will be closely monitoring fourth quarter. Reports expected around February 15, less than 2 weeks away. Also noted on Wednesday that Lincoln's national death claims are up 13.7% for yearly and up 57% in quarter four in 2019. CFO Randy Freitag explained on Thursday that the share of young people dying from the Chinese Communist covert viral infection doubled in the second half of the year. Okay. It can be said, folks, that the ain't working. And it ain't just killing old guys, okay? But the other thing, too, is also the comorbidities and, the other things, too. It's pretty much staying healthy. Taking your vitamins. I mean, come on. How hard is it for you guys to basically cop vitamins? Cheap insurance. You take them, you feel better. Everything works. And you're not dealing with the Chinese Communist covert viral infection. Basically just,
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Okay, so, yeah, you don't want to deal with that stuff, okay? Oh, no. No zone. No zone. I didn't say it wrong, sound guy, so it wasn't the no zone, okay? We're good. I did curse once, so I almost never do that. Well, anyway, so look at things as it is. Naturally acquired immunity, it works. Eating the vitamins works. Watching out for the comorbidities works. I'm not a big fan of the, I'm not a big fan of the, I like the 44, but I'm not a big fan of the, I'm not a big fan of that. Okay. So YouTube, I didn't say anything that I shouldn't be saying because I didn't go in the, oh, jeez. No zone. No zone. I didn't go into no zone. Okay. Stop. I'm not in the no zone. We're fine. Anyway, J Dog says he likes the gummy vitamins. he's going to go out and get Flynn stoned. All right, folks, coming on 10 o'clock time period. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. I got hopefully enough venues of things, posting things up. I did really screw up last time. I was looking at the video on Facebook and I was like, wait a minute, there's no sound. Yeah, I realized I plugged the microphone into the wrong side of the adapter plug. Oops. Oh, well, stuff happens. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Those people hanging out with me in the room. Wow, man, that's so cool to see you guys hanging out with me tonight. It's always nice to see new faces or people that I know from other areas hanging out with me and good stuff like that there. Of course, obviously, the place only grows by namesake and virtue, and it's not going to be by YouTube because they're just not sharing anything that you do nowadays. Why? Because they suck. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. Eager to as always, you love it. It'll be archived on YouTube, on Facebook, and I actually am cheating because I actually have my phone, the 1T, not my standard daily driver, but my 1T phone is recording this. And if I need to, I can upload that video file. Why? Because I have scads of space in that thing because it is literally a 1T smartphone. All right, so I'm going to break up with this one, folks. Have a good one, and I'll catch you guys next week. Good stuff like that there. And be sure to check out all your buddies and good stuff like that in the room. And catch you guys next week. Have a good one. See you guys.